Hello everyone. My name is Lexi. Thank you all for joining us today as we kick off our Friday series for the month of October. Excuse me. There will be 3 series. In the first series, we will talk about the issues we selected this year for our projects, as well as challenges we faced around these issues and potential solutions for change. The second series will cover recommendations, and the third, a tool for supporting youth. Once again, my name is Lexi. This is my 4th year in the program. Technically, I would be an alumni now, but we adapted our program during COVID-19 to offer everyone who was a 3rd-year youth advocate another year to stay in the program. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Brett. I am a 3rd-year youth advocate for Youth Fostering Change. I think that's it. Dwayne, introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dwayne Price. This is my 2nd year as a youth advocate with Juvenile Law Center, and I'm glad to be here today.
My name is Ashley Watson. I'm with Juveniles for Justice, my 3rd year. Yeah.
Okay, my name is Jahad May. I've been in Juvenile Law Center for my 3rd year, and I did it for change and get my voice heard.
Do we have Speedy still to introduce and Mark still introduce?
Okay, I'll go. I'm Stephen Yates, also known as Speedy in the group. I've been in JLC for, I believe this is my 3rd year. Technically 2nd year because we're still finishing up. I'm just glad to be here. Also, check out the Inquirer and look up my name. Please read that article and definitely check out our website if you guys haven't already to see what else we're up to.
My name is Mark Williams. I've been a member for 3 years. I'm just happy to help make some changes in the DHS system.
I'm Marcia Hopkins. I'm one of the program managers at Juvenile Law Center. Thank you all for being with us today.
And I'm Kathy Moffa. I'm also one of the program managers here. So happy to have you all join today. I'm going to do a really quick program overview, right? That's what we're doing next. Okay, great.
Sorry, Kath, it's Chloe. Just a quick note. If whoever wants to be on video, you can just go ahead and turn your video on and leave it on the whole time instead of turning it on and off, please.
Okay. So I'll do a really quick program overview. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Juvenile Law Center's Youth Advocacy Program, but if not, we'll talk about that briefly. And then as Alexis outlined for you, this is the first of 3 series. So we launched our project this morning. We're really excited. We had an incredible Inquirer article that you can find in the chat that really outlines the whole purpose of the project. So please check that out. So Juvenile Law Center has had the youth advocacy program since 2008. And this program includes Juveniles for Justice and Youth Fostering Change. And these programs provide youth with involvement in the juvenile justice system and the child welfare system, the opportunity to develop, propose, and advocate for effective solutions. And so through these programs, our youth advocates develop leadership skills, political knowledge, communication and storytelling skills, and a sense of community. But we also use their personal experiences and their expertise to develop and inform Juvenile Law Center's own priorities by working to affect policy change through advocacy, media outreach, and public education, which is what we're doing right now. And I do really want to emphasize how much we care about youth expertise. It's essential to sustainable reform. So our youth advocates and Our staff believe youth with experience in the justice system and child welfare system should be at the decision-making table when policies and legislation have an impact on their own lives and their communities. So this year, both of the groups really wanted to tackle different issues, which is really common. So Juveniles for Justice wanted to tackle the huge issue of mass incarceration of youth, and Youth Fostering Change really wanted to tackle the issue of mental health, mental wellness for youth who are in the foster care system. Ironically, a lot of the solutions are overlapping. We really focus on community-based supports, but our youth advocates today are really going to talk about why these issues are so pervasive in these systems, and they're really going to talk about some of the intricacies that go along with some of these problems as well. And so I'm going to shift back to the youth advocates because they are the experts in this project, and we're going to have Dwayne start off by talking about why he chose this project this year, and everyone's going to kind of explain why they focused on this project as well. And can you also just, when you say your name, also remind people what group you're into, whether you're in YFC or J for J? Sound good? Great.
Hello, everyone. This is Dwayne. I'm part of Youth Fostering Change with JLC. Um, this year, we chose mental health as our issue to work on because so many youth in and out of the system didn't receive services or had a hard time receiving them. A lot of youth came into the system with some sort of trauma or bad experience they had throughout their lives. It's a shame that the lack of services and support isn't available, or at least available right away. Mental health should always be the main priority for all youth in the system and once they exit the system as well. We together, as a group, came up with many plans, scenarios, and situations that can help benefit change for all youth regarding mental health services. We will go into more depth about these strategies and scenarios in the second part series. Thank you so much. Lexi, if you don't mind, you can go next.
So, hey, you guys, again, it's Lexi. Like Dwayne said, this is my 4th year in YFC. And we chose to work on mental health this year because many people in the system have suffered some sort of trauma or experienced mental health issues. I personally thought it was important to shed light on the lack of support and consideration of young people and their feelings, especially those who do suffer from mental health issues. My hopes for the after effects of this presentation are more help and support, as well as extracurricular activities and funding for young people, especially, like I said, those who have mental health diagnoses.
Hi, I'm Britt. Youth Fostering Change. Like Dwayne and like she was saying, we chose mental health. The way we tried to address this issue is by creating a roadmap. So that's basically finding ways. Hold on. Okay, that basically allows youth to navigate their life before, during, and after care to help find ways where mental health support and any other supports to the youth may need, or where they could have gotten help during their time in the system. Mark, you want to talk about why you chose mental health?
We chose mental health because it's hard to get information to a lot of youth, and we believe we can find better, more effective ways to get that information to people who need it.
So,
This was,
Go ahead, Jab.
I'm about to say this is where J for J come in, right?
Yep, go for it.
Okay, my name is Jahad May. I'm speaking for J for J, and I'm speaking on the behalf of Quilla. And one of the reasons we discussed in J for J was with how they treat you behind when you get incarcerated, and mental health too. And this is, I'm speaking for Quilla. Most young people have barriers in life. They need guidance and support resources Incarceration would be the biggest barrier in youth life, which does not support a youth transition into adulthood.
Thanks, Shahad.
And Jahad, once again, speaking for myself this time. Okay.
Shahad, I think, one quick second, I think we're gonna have Ashley talk about why you guys chose mass incarceration for kids this year as well.
I'm Ashley with J for J. And okay, so we chose mass incarceration as our topic, and we chose that because it's a lot of like youth incarcerated, and like, and it's like my bad, I'm sorry. Okay, so yeah, it's mass incarceration of it's a lot of youth, and we don't really think they like need to be in prison, because it's like no, like, because for youth it's no point. Like, you're, for one, you're away from your family, they treat you wrong, you youth, so they can't like really do nothing about it. And people don't really listen to what you guys say over adult, especially when they overseeing. And it's so many like people inside of there, like away from their family and stuff like that. We don't think it should be mass incarceration. It's a lot of mass incarceration. That's it.
You did a good job. Thanks, Ash. So I think we're gonna have Britt ask the next question for J for J.
Yes. So now, Jahai and Ashali, can you talk about why incarceration is not restorative or helpful for youth in the system?
Jahad speaking again, and speaking for Quilla again. Okay, now I can answer the question she just asked. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm speaking for myself this time. Sorry for the miscommunication. Youth in there with people who did the same thing, which makes it normal, and that make. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I just woke up. I'm gonna start over. Jahad May speaking. Youth. And my answer is to Brick question is youth and there with people who did the same thing, which makes it normal, and that you might as well continue to break the law and give ideas about other things you can get away with. Other people can be bad influences, especially if it's a first time offense. Everybody mess up, and people should be given more chances for help before given detention. People who work there bring their emotions to work, and they're not giving youth a fair case because they're racist. Shirley.
Okay, so can you repeat the question again?
Okay, so how is incarceration not restorative or helpful for youth in care?
Oh, I basically said a lot of that at the beginning, because it's not helpful, because for one, they are away from everybody that probably keep them sane. For one, it's messing with them mentally and physically because of what I done saw. So like they don't in there, they wouldn't be having people to talk to. Like, I done heard stories about getting beat on, stuff like that. I just don't think it's helpful at all for youth to be policed, period. So
I definitely feel that. So you're saying not only are they not learning anything, but they're also being abused and neglected. And like Jahad was saying earlier, they're also learning new criminal things to do. And I definitely feel that. So it's not really restorative. It's more so just making things worse. That's what you're trying to say?
Yes, exactly.
I
Thanks,
feel
Ash.
that.
Thanks, Britt.
Like, see, you want to ask the next question for YFC?
Hey guys, sure. So again, it's Lexi, and I'm in YFC. So YFC, let's talk about why mental health and connections to community supports are so important in foster care. Or did I reread the wrong question, Miss Marcia?
Nope, you got it. You're good. Speedy's just getting himself camera ready here.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Just give me. Okay. So my answer to that question, again, this is Speedy. I'm sorry. Ignore the noise in the background. I believe being able to be a part of a community like sports, neighbors, um, rec centers, and different things like that are important because it helps us socialize a lot easier and helps us feel like we have a voice and that we can speak up and not be afraid. These things are important for our mental health because if we do not understand what's wrong or what's bothering us deep down, we are simply going to bottle it up instead, and that causes mental breakdowns, which can affect our daily lives severely.
That was good, Speedy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hi, this is Dwayne again. When we think about mental health and community connections, we can see a link between the two. It shows us that even when things just do not go our way, it still is hope. It shows us that there are a lot of people and services to help youth get through the struggles they're going through. That's why it's important to have community-based support and mental health services such as arts and crafts, dancing, team building, games and activity, extra one-on-one therapy, counseling, and group therapy, and so much more. So our minds aren't occupied with the problems that are bothering us. Instead, it will help us cope or handle the situation so it can be resolved. It's important to know youth, that all youth, have more than one option to pick from. And thank you so much.
Good job, Dwayne.
Thank you, Speedy.
Like, see, you had answer to that question too, right?
So mental health and connections to community supports. I'm sorry, you guys, it's Lexi again. So mental health and community supports, connections to community supports are so important for youth in the foster care system because it could give you something to look forward to, help provide an outlet or stress relief, and a place to get away or for those who need it. Excuse me.
All right. So now we're gonna jump into the third question, and this one is for Ashali and Jahad. This one for y'all once again. So in your experience, did you feel like anyone in the juvenile justice system tried to find out why you were in trouble or acting out? Did anybody talk to you? Did whether it was a mentor, one of the staff, your judge? Tell me about it.
This is never a question actually, which is the saddest part. How can judges, officials, lawyers fix and support our problems if they don't know what they are? Know what they are.
Jahad, did anybody try to talk to you, figure out what was going on in your life that caused your issues?
Right.
You still with us, Jahai, or should we move on?
Britt, if he's having some tech difficulties, would you mind reading his response for people?
I definitely can.
Thanks so much.
Here we go. So speaking for Jahai,
I'm back. Hello.
okay.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Britt.
All right, Jahai, you heard the question, or you want me to repeat it?
I heard you.
All right, cool.
Okay, Jahai speaking again. My fault, miscommunication. No one really ever really asks, especially cops, because they're just doing their job to get paid. Some cops that care might talk to you and give you a warning for like little misdemeanors, and that's not really big of a deal, but usually not. The only person that might ask you once in a while is maybe a judge, and that is to give you a opportunity to be honest, to see your side, to actually talk to you, which matter a lot because it can affect the outcome of your case. I'm done.
So, YFC members, did anyone try to find what supports work best for you when you enter care? And I guess if Dwayne, if you could go.
Yes, I can go. Thank you. Um, Not immediately. When I first entered into care, I had to wait a few months before any support was given to me. After a few months, I was enrolled in therapy. It was helpful at the moment, which helped me ease my mind and helped me control my emotions, but I felt more could be done. Another thing that was on the table was enrolling me into after school programs or day programs that offer extra support and activities such as technology classes, music, sports, counseling, and much more. Unfortunately, it never happened. I just wish my mental health was one of my team's main priorities for me. If my mental health was prioritized, my experience would be so much better. It was hard to trust the people around me and the system for a while. If only my mental health services were to kick in faster, I could have trusted the process sooner. Plus, it would have helped me overcome my trauma faster and made me believe that the people who are around me were here to help me and care for me, then ignore me. Thank you so much. Britt, if you don't mind going next.
Most definitely. All right, so when I was in care, I didn't get any supports or services, nor was they talked about, but they did put me on medicine. Like after my first week or two there, the nurse that would come every morning to give the youth medicine, they was like, hey, you got meds. They tried to give me a Abilify, said I had bipolar disorder, but I never spoke with like a therapist. I never had like been to the doctor to see if that was the case. So I never really took the medicine. But other than that, once they did that, that was like the end of it. That was the only supports they was trying to supply. And that's the only supports they did throughout my time in care.
Lexi, do you want to share your experience?
Yeah, sorry, you guys. So, not really. It's kind of the same experience as you guys. So when I got into therapy a few months after entering care, but I also feel like my team could have done a lot more to ensure my mental health was okay. Um, things like trying to get me into therapy when they first opened my case, as well as offering extracurricular activities. They could have also included other stress reliefs like art therapy or boxing, modeling, dancing, and other extracurricular activities to try to help me cope. By giving me some type of outlet or a therapist earlier, I feel like I would have worked through my issues and my trauma. I feel as though I would and could have been in better situations and would possibly have more coping skills as well and have a better grasp of my mental health now.
All right. Thank you everyone for sharing. This next question is for everyone. Can we talk about how race plays a role in youth being placed in care? in the child welfare system and the juvenile justice system, or how? So basically, your experiences with race, if it played a part, if it didn't play a part. Let's talk about it. Anyone who want to jump in, go ahead.
I'll jump right in, actually. How you guys doing? It's Speedy again, your boy. Um, when I entered care, I believe they did not consider what my personal race is, and thus this caused me to have slight identity issues growing up. I also thought that I was one thing because of the home that I was in, when in reality, I was something else. But thankful, for the foster parents that I had at the time, they actually helped me understand who I was. Um, oh, sorry. I had a foster family that helped me understand who I was by helping me understand who my mom was and where she is from. They celebrated holidays in my culture, read books to me to learn more about my culture and race, and that helped me a lot. And I just believe that a lot of foster parents should consider that in their endeavors in the future, because that can help a lot for a kid, like a lot.
Okay, this is Jahad speaking. In courtrooms, when you get processed, you can see that everybody's out to get you if you're not colored people. The people who share the same race are more likely to understand your experience and help you out, like if they live or grew up in the same neighborhood as you.
Thanks, Shahad.
All right. So Mark, you want to answer that question? Um, how race played the part?
Yes. Um, I feel there's a lot of negative stereotypes associated with youth and care that just aren't true. But still, I notice workers and staff making judgments and decisions based on these stereotypes instead of getting to know who we are and our individual needs. If staff had certain experiences with youth who look like me, I felt they associated me with these youth instead of doing things more individualized.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
so I'm also
Yeah.
answer that question. So I feel race definitely plays a part in the overall process, whether it's how the staff treat you. Like I've seen personally darker skinned youth get restrained quicker or treated differently, whether they was voicing a issue, raise their voice, or just seem like they was about to be aggressive. They'll get restrained overall from the being a lighter skinned youth or a Hispanic or a white youth, whereas though we would get talked to differently, me myself being a lighter skinned youth. You'll get the staff will try to de-escalate the issue more so when it's darker skinned people, they will like try to restrain them, and now they're dangerous just because they got angry or just because they voicing a issue. And that definitely states back to the colorism issue, and not only in our community but all around us. Like in court, judge would, if they can't identify with you, like Jahad was saying, they would discipline you more. They'll read the paper and say, okay, this kid is bad, that's what this kid did, and they'll just go based off that and how the kid looks, instead of getting to know the youth and separate and skin from the actual person.
And another thing, if you could see how the neighborhood helps each other and understand how we are in our communities, like with the parks and recs, then you'll be able to recreate or create new ways for the youth.
Thanks, Shahad. I feel like that's a really good point that people need to know, not like make assumptions about our communities, but really like actually coming in and seeing like the strength and the power that our communities have. So I really appreciate you adding that.
We on question 6 now.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is for everybody, I'm guessing. How does race and cultural experiences impact solutions? And should I start or? I'm gonna start.
Go for it, Ash.
There are a lot of Black people that live in poverty, and that impacts youth who are going to the system. Without money, security, youth will find other ways to make money. It's not just about fixing the justice system, but all systems and communities such as education, financial planning, housing, and stuff like that.
Thanks, Ash.
Okay, me. I can repeat the question one more time, please.
Okay, it's how does race and cultural experiences impact solutions?
Okay, that brings up when I say parks and recs, and then there you got parades, and it's like the community itself for real is you could use that. Like, I know I read my answer already, but this is the new answer, and I just thought of this off the top, and I just wanted to share it. It's like when you come in communities, it's like, and you can see like the firehouses, like that's one thing. Like in my neighborhood, it's like a firehouse right there, and like you could do more murals, like, you know what I'm saying, like on houses that don't like big lots and stuff. They could come in and like have like a family farm, plant things, like, you know what I'm saying, like that. It don't always gotta be like the parks and recs. It could also be like just neighborhood, like cleaning up the blocks. I mean, they do that, but like make it more involved, like actually have like officers come out and clean the blocks. Don't let they just not that the neighborhood do it, like actually have officers help.
Thanks, Shahad. I really appreciate that.
And Speedy, if you can just answer the question, and then I'll close out. That would be nice.
But of course, I will be glad to, Brett. By the way, everyone's doing a wonderful job. And I also want to let everybody know before I continue that we will be answering questions at the end if anybody has questions. So by all means, rack them up and we'll get to them at the end. My answer to this is I believe that race and cultural experiences impact. Oh, wait, hold up. Okay. I believe that race and cultural experiences impact heavy on the solutions that we need because, like Ashley said, as Ashley has stated, there are a lot of us in poverty, and we who have been through it can connect with these youth much easier and better than someone who is simply doing their job. And the youth will feel more comfortable knowing that we've been through some of the same hardships, kind of like what Jihad was saying. Um, I'm sorry, I'm losing my place here. I apologize, you guys. They're more comfortable knowing that we've been through some of the same hardships. Um, I keep losing myself. I'm so sorry, you guys. This is very unprofessional. Keeps moving. That said, too often the people running these prisons and those working on the solutions do not look like us. They don't come from our communities and never had our experiences. They need to work with youth directly to develop solutions, like one-on-one of individual needs. Professionals could also listen a lot better instead of asking too many questions. It's better to just sit down and listen to everything that youth have to say. And that's very important because a lot of times when the youth, sometimes we have anxiety or we don't feel comfortable talking to a particular person. And the way that we cope with that, if we still going to answer your questions, we typically go from story to story, but it somehow has a relation to it. So I would just ask that, these professionals actually sit and listen to everything that we have to say and not try to read between the lines so fast.
I definitely feel that, Speedy. Thank you for sharing to everyone.
Thank you.
To answer that question, race definitely impacts all solutions. Throughout the whole process, we as youth, we're surrounded by people that not only don't look like us, but they also don't understand us and don't understand our culture, how we are. So we get a lot of microaggressions. If you don't know what that is, that's basically subliminal racism. It's like you're being racist, but you pretending you're not, but we feel it, you know? So that dates back to even what Speedy was saying earlier and the question before this one, how race, even when his home at a young age, he didn't know what race he was because he was surrounded by everyone else. So he had identity crisis. So he's basically adapting to be whatever they want him to be. And we find ourselves in those places a lot. Like Mark was saying, while he was in care, the staff treated him differently because he was darker, because some other kids before him did some. So they expect him to be bad just because he's the same skin color as them. So race constantly impacts our whole process, whether we're in court. The judge will talk to a youth that's lighter skinned differently than a darker skinned youth just because a couple shades. So race follows us everywhere we go, especially people of color, us Hispanics, us Black youth, mixed youth included. So it just constantly follow us. So race impacts all solutions. And to close out, that would be the end of our discussion. And we enjoy speaking with you and sharing our thoughts and our experiences. We're gonna fall into the Q&A now. So if you got any questions, any concerns, just drop them in the comments and we will answer them, moderated by our staff, Kathy and Marcia. Y'all got anything y'all want to say before we close out?
I mean, Britt, I just want to thank all of you for coming on. And, you know, we work with you guys every day and you guys are amazing. And I appreciate the hard work you guys have done collectively. I love that you guys did this together with both groups. You guys always like support each other's work. And I think it's really powerful that you came on and did this together. And, you know, y'all know how I feel about the work y'all do and the respect I have for you guys daily. So I'm just grateful that you guys came on and were willing to share.
There are a couple questions that were posed in the chat that we can go through. We'll try to get through as many as possible. So one of them that was asked, was there a reason extracurricular activities were not provided for this? This is specifically for youth, I believe. So is there any particular reason why extracurricular activities were not provided to you? And I will say, before everybody jumps into answer, I know a lot of just schools in general, like if you move in the middle of the year, you either have to sit for several weeks for sports or you can't participate. That's fairly typical for school districts. So if any of you want to answer why extracurricular activities were not provided to you in particular, you can jump in right now. I know I should write one.
I can definitely speak on that subject. I remember when I was in group homes, it was a time where I wanted to join the guitar. It was like this guitar club, right? And in the school you had to pay a fee, a $50 fee. When I asked to be a part of that, for my casework and my house parents and stuff like that, they said they didn't have the funding for it. But when a different youth wanted to be a cheerleader, which is the same exact fee for all extracurricular programs in our school, they allowed her to join the cheerleading squad. They paid all her fees, brought the uniforms, brought whatever she needed for it. So I'm not sure what lines were crossed there of how I couldn't get that too for the same exact price and fee, but they told me it wasn't enough funding for it. But that I'm pretty sure that dates back to the colorism issue. This was also a white youth that was in the same group home I was in, and not only was it that, I'm pretty sure Ashley spoke about this earlier, the whole sexuality issue while you're in care, how people would treat you differently or you'll be seen different by your sexuality. So I'm pretty sure not only did my race play a part, but also that did, because there'll be times where my case people will like mess up my pronouns, even though you're my caseworker, you know exactly what my pronouns are. So it's like stuff like that, like little microaggressions and things where I can't do this, but someone else can with the same exact funding. Anyone else want to answer that?
Thanks for sharing that, Britt. Really appreciate it.
I actually got a question in the chat, if it's okay if I answer it for I believe the person, if I'm correct.
Is it a different question, Speedy?
Yes.
Okay, did anybody else want to add to the extracurricular activities, or do you all want to move on to the next one?
Can I add one thing?
Mm-hmm. Sure, and then I'll move to you, Speedy, okay?
Right.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, what Britt was saying is so true. One thing I also think that affects why, activities aren't available is because of, the higher ups, the case managers, the social workers, is that maybe they just don't offer, or they don't want to, how you have some social workers, some case managers, they're not really interested in doing their job. And obviously they don't want to refer that to the youth so they can participate and do more things. So that leaves the youth not having any options to participate with any activity that's available.
Thank you, Dwayne. Speedy, which question did you want to answer? Or Ice, did you want to answer a question? Did you want to answer that one?
No, my child said she at me, so I waved back at her.
I get that. Speedy, which question did you want to answer?
There was someone wondering if we could talk about mental health services, and if like we had good quality therapy, or if it was like, worth it, or if we believe that we had a positive outlook on it.
Okay.
Okay. So I will not be sharing my camera. I apologize, guys. My cat is here, but I will answer your question. My answer to that is personally, I had a pretty good experience with therapy. I was one of the lucky few who had a therapist that just kept it real with me all the time. I mean, I had him since I was 5 up until I was about 19 or 20. And to this day, I actually still talk to him about certain things, although I don't have services with him. So I think that I had a good experience because the way he treated me and the way he talked to me, he treated me like a human being. He never took everything that I said literally, because there were times where I have said, certain things that would have a therapist in that position report in a bad way. And he did not do that. Instead, he decided to, sit down and take the time out to talk to me, and ask me what's really going on and what's really bothering me. And I think that's really important because, like, literally, there's been a few times where like our sessions has gone over, and it was just him listening to what I had to say, and the next session was us trying to figure out a solution to those problems. And I think a lot of therapists and psychiatrics can actually learn a lot from him because he's a good man. He's a great person. Now, I do understand that some people have bad experiences in therapy, and if anybody want to speak on that, by all means, speak on it.
Does anybody want to speak on an experience that they've had with a therapist, good or bad? You don't have to. We can jump to other questions. There are lots of questions. We still have plenty of time.
Well, I wasn't never in therapy, but my little brother was. And I guess he was acting up in school or whatever, so they put him in therapy. And, instead of trying to, regular therapy, like talk to people, that therapy, adults visit and all that, they prescribed him some type of drug that made him just like very dead to the world.
That's not out of the ordinary.
And he was only like, he 13 now.
So he was already really young.
Yeah, he was like 8, 9.
Thanks for sharing that, Aish.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make my way through these questions here. I might jump around a little bit depending on how the conversation goes. So I'm going to move to one about, let me just make sure. Okay. Going in the same vein as mental health, someone asked about what we plan to do in the coming year to uplift this issue of the need for better mental health supports, and if there are ways that our audience participants can lift up and amplify this work that you all do. I know Marcia and I and our communications team have plans, but if you all have thoughts on how to really get this work out there, please jump in.
I mean, y'all know I'm happy to uplift y'all. I guess one point that
Britt was about to jump right on.
Go, yeah, Britt, you should go first. Yeah.
I was about to ask you if you could repeat the question because I heard parts of it, but I couldn't really make out the what can you just repeat it?
Sure. So the question is, What work will we be doing in the upcoming year to lift up the issue? And are there ways that the audience members can lift up and amplify this issue that we're working on?
Okay, so the way we gonna lift up and rise above all this situations we're a part of, we dedicated our roadmap to this situation by like I was saying earlier, by helping the youth navigate before, during, and after care, finding ways where they could have gotten support mental health wise or in general, and ways where they could like potentially find support. So maybe medicine isn't for this kid, so maybe they can maybe do a sport or use music as a form of therapy, some form of art therapy. So we pushing our roadmap, and the way you can help is by helping us push this roadmap forward and getting the word out about our roadmap and actually using it yourself in the future. So anybody else?
I'm just going to plug that with Britt as a social worker. I think it's a really great tool. And I think it's also a really good tool because what we collectively hear from youth with experience in the justice and the child welfare system is that they're not even connected to, I'm going to use quote unquote, regular activities for themselves. So like when they talk about like, activities they could do at school, in the community, when Jihad talked about rec centers, often that's not even in their case planning. And, I think that is a huge and major disservice. And I think it's a testament to what young people say about racism and discrimination, that like our young people are not even being offered normal activities for them to be children, that actually we know factually in research and just in life actually helps kids to heal and to socialize and to get through things. And I think that tool helps young people actively engage in their planning for them to identify things that they feel that they are interested in, connected to their personality, their identity, their culture, and that could be really therapeutic for them. So I encourage people to take a look at the roadmap tool.
Register for all weeks, all lunch discussions. It's the last one.
There is a juvenile justice question, Kathy, I wanted to flag.
Yeah, the one. Yeah, I was just about to jump to that one. I think that there's a couple in the answered that we can get to if we have time as well. What is, and this, I think anybody can answer this, but definitely Jihad and Aisha Lee from J4J, you can answer this as well. What is one thing that you wish decision makers in the criminal justice system knew before they made decisions that impact the lives of young people? What questions should they be asking? Things like that. So like what decisions, before they make decisions, what should they know about young people? What questions should they be asking?
Well, I think they should know that we're gonna make mistakes and that we're gonna act out. There are, the good ones, but there are, some of us who don't know how to respond to certain situations, and all we know is that we have to live with strangers all our lives. And I think that what they also should do before, getting deep into a lot of things that they do is not only do an actual full investigation, but actually figure out what's going on from the child as well. Because some people get ripped apart for nothing. And I just think patience is key, because a lot of times they just rush into things based on the child's behavior. And then that behavior actually get written down in a report, and it makes it worse when that kid might want to move to another foster home or whatever the case may be. They look at it like jail records is what someone told. And I think that you shouldn't base it on behavior, because there are a lot of kids, who wouldn't be upset in a situation like that. Like, I mean, I know I was. I mean, I didn't understand what was going on, and I'm living in a strange area, strange people, strange culture. And I think that needs to be in the back of their domes at all time. Like, they need to be more optimistic about everyone's situations, because they like to lump people together. And I know we talked about it before, but they love putting people in categories when it comes to foster care and housing situations.
Yeah, just to piggyback off what Speedy was saying, definitely communicate with the youth. Getting to know that youth and understanding their experiences directly from them is key. I remember when I was in care, I was talking to one of the staff, and like Speedy was talking about what's written on the page, the staff told me about the power of the pen. It's not what actually happened. It's not what you said happened. It's what that staff or that person written on that paper that affects your whole life and it follows you wherever you go. So for people that's in power that reads these papers, once you read it, talk to the youth about it, figure out what happened, how it went down, and really get an understanding of all parties, because sometimes favoritism can come in play. A staff can put that a youth did some way more than they actually did. Just because it's written there, that doesn't mean it happened. So definitely get all sides of the story, understand the youth, and get to know that youth before you prejudge them based off what you read about them and what they look like.
Thanks, Britt. I also want to make sure, go ahead, Jihad. I was going to say Jihad and Aishali definitely have an opportunity to answer this one.
And I was gonna say to the judges and DAs, like, you gotta look at it like at our point of view, like flip the script. Is that if you was us and we was y'all, how would you feel if you was got caught up in something you wasn't supposed to get caught up, but you getting blamed for it? Or like if you grew up in our type of community and we grew up in your type of community and we met y'all, how y'all look at us, and then you know what I'm trying to say, Miss Marcia, right?
I get you. I'm with you. Yep. I'm with you. They
You
need to
doing,
put
bro? You
themselves in
understand?
y'all's shoes, and nobody thinks about those things. They really just judge you guys off of, whatever situation. I think you hit it right on the money, Jihad.
Can I also just say one more thing?
1 second. Can we get over to Aishali, and then we'll go to
Okay.
Dwayne. We'll go to Speedy. Go ahead, Aishali.
Okay, so I feel like anybody talking to a youth should always have in their mind that, like, what if this was my child? Like, I would want them spoken to this way, or like had these type of supports, or you know what I mean. Like,
I think that's
Mhm.
important. That's
Mhm.
true. All right,
I
Dwayne.
think to us, y'all, it seems so simple. That's why when you guys say stuff, you're like, y'all know what I'm saying. But, apparently folks don't know what we're saying. So I'm glad you guys are saying it.
Dwayne and then Speedy.
All right. So I want to actually piggyback off Britt and Speedy when they was talking about, they get written when a youth gets written up and there's a record. Um, yeah, when a youth gets written up, that record sometimes follows them. It's on the record, and wherever they go, people can see that, they can read about it, and like what Britt was saying is that what the staff puts down on the paper matters the most. Is not what the youth says or what they seen, because whatever that staff writes on the paper, then it goes to the judge and the case managers, and people see it. And if a youth goes to another place or a treatment facility or a group home, foster home activity, anyone can pull that record up, and then they can say, "Oh, I don't think this youth is a good fit," or he has some problems. Maybe we should be careful and examine him first. They automatically judge the youth for something that happened in the past, but really it might not happen, or somebody put something as misinformation and it's wrong, and I don't find that really fair in the sense of the paperwork that's being followed, because not all youth in sense is like bad, or they have problems. People just have to get adjusted. The youth have to get adjusted to the place, and I don't think a lot of people, especially staff or certain workers, don't really recognize that, and that's where the problems come in place.
Thanks for sharing that, Dwayne. I definitely agree with that, because you can't just sit there and put a kid inside a home with a bunch of strangers and expect them to just be all with it and down and understand. So letting a kid act out is normal. If a child was to act out at home, they wanted to get restraint. They wanted to got put in a different placement. They would have got a little punishment, and that would have been the end of it. So why treat these kids that's the same age differently just because they're in care? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, you was going to answer this question too?
Go ahead, Speedy.
Oh, okay. So actually, on what Bert was saying, because she was actually on the right ball where I was going. Um, I just feel like currently, like a lot of kids, we feel like strangers in our own skin. We feel like strangers wherever we go, whether it's with the foster parent, whether it's with a worker. Um, and that was just one more thing I wanted to add. Like, I just think that you should treat us as if we're human, like you. Treat us, our age. Treat us, our level of intellect. Don't speak down to us. Um, don't just like spit a lot of like big words from what you learned for work at us either, because it's not going to mean much. I think just building that relationship with a youth can be so important, especially at younger ages. And if you're dealing with teenagers, you have to be patient with teenagers. That is the rebel phase. Everyone has done something silly at that age. You have to accept that that's what's going to happen with the rest of us teenagers, and you have to be able to be patient enough to sit down and talk to them and teach them what not to do and what, how they can solve that issue that they were having. Because just blowing it off, or just like, oh well, I'm going to call your worker, or I'm going to call this person, that's going to make us not want to talk to anybody. That's just going to make us feel more insecure, and I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you, sweetie.
Mhm.
We do have a couple other questions. I know that if people we can stay on for a few more minutes to answer questions if people want to. If you sign off, we totally understand. We're recording this, so the hope is to get it out to people if you want to see the rest of it, if you have to sign off. So one thing that you all talk a lot about is how important steady employment income is. So how does having steady employment and income affect youth experiences in the community before or after system involvement? So you can talk about your experience in the foster care system or the juvenile justice system. So how does having that steady employment and income impact your experience?
Working well in the system helped keep me busy, and it gave me the experience of being in the workforce and having money and budgeting and saving and whatnot.
Mhm.
Thanks, Mark.
Kathy, what was the question?
Sure.
I know it's about some form of dollars. I'm just not sure what kind.
How does having steady employment or income affect youth experiences in the community? Now, it might be before entering into a system or after entering the system or while you're in a system.
Listen, I think steady income and work is good for everyone. We all need it because money make the world go around. We got to pay our rent. If we got money, we got food, we got things to do, we got stuff that provides for our hobbies, whether it's video games or basketball or just going out skating. We got things to do to keep us out of trouble, and we also got everything we need in our home to keep us comfortable. So I think income is valuable for everyone, not just youth.
Thank you. Go ahead, you can go, Dwayne.
Yeah, um, I agree with Britt and I agree with Mark. When I was in the group home, and I turned 16. I got my first job, and when I got my first job and I started to work, of course, the money is good, and I'm glad I'm making extra money that's coming in. But besides the money, when I was working, I felt a lot of source of like freedom, a lot of source of being out of the system. Like I could be able to manage and do things on my own, and that helped me a lot from staying calm and not having to worry about whatever that's going on in the group home, or feeling like I'm in the child welfare system. I felt like that I was out of that, and I was able to be an independent person and feel like I can live the lives of people that's not in the child welfare system. And it felt great, and it helped a lot. So I, I I do appreciate that I was able to get a job and start to work.
Thank you, Dwayne. Did anybody else want to answer that one? Okay, there's one more, and I think that this is actually more of a, oh, no, maybe there's two more. Hold on. So one person said, one thing mentioned was how more can be done. What can we as professionals do to engage youth, to get them to open up about their needs and what's helpful for them? Man, we do this question with every single panel. Y'all keep it as short as possible because we can go on forever. How do you work with young people to get them to open up? Let's do some practical examples. I'm gonna just call on like everyone. If you don't want to do it, just say pass. That's fine. But let's do them like quick and go through. I'm looking right at, oh, I see Britt's hand, so we're gonna go there first. Go, Britt.
Listen, all you need is communication and snacks. It's the easiest way. While they eating, they can listen to you, and then while they about to go for that second bite, they can respond. Just feed them and hang out with them, vibe with them. Don't talk at them, talk to them. And Dwayne, what do you think? How to vibe with these youth?
I agree with you, Britt. I think it's important to vibe with youth is being able to relate to them, being able to understand where they're coming from, and not just thinking that you're over, like you're above them, or that you can just say whatever you want. Is about actually working with them and, you know, building a good relationship so that you can vibe with them a lot better.
Mark, you have any thoughts on that? Or pass?
Pass.
Cool. Lexi, do you have any thoughts about how to connect with young people, or pass?
I definitely agree with what Britt was saying. But yeah, just try to reconnect more, be more like lenient and I guess nice, but also like motivating and I want to say more knowledgeable. I don't know how to explain it, but like try to share your knowledge as well. So, you know, yeah.
I love that, Lex. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely share the knowledge.
Aishali, do you have thoughts on it or pass?
What was the question again?
How do you get young people to open up to you?
Candy.
Good candy. Jihad, do you have thoughts or pass?
Thoughts about
How to get young people to open up to their like attorneys and workers?
yes. Yes, I do. My thought is meet if you can't come like get them meet in a chill environment because most like probation officers want you to come downtown like where you got in trouble at or something, and that makes certain people that been incarcerated feel like make them nervous like because you going back downtown like where you got in trouble at or like where you got your ankle bracelet on, and that is because instead so you can like meet in a chill environment, like come in his neighborhood and meet him. That can make him feel good, like, oh, okay, he trusts you enough to come meet you in your house and your environment, even though your like environment might not be so good, he still came out there instead of meeting him downtown. And I'm not gonna lie, when I go downtown, even though I'm not involved in like criminal justice no more, I still get nervous when I walk past the courthouses sometimes, just because I always have to come down there.
Oh,
I
thanks for
appreciate
sharing
you
that,
saying
Jihad.
that so much, like so much. Because that's race, that's income, that's being young, like that's so many things. Like I walk past the police department and I get like anxiety a little bit, and I'm just walking by. So I really appreciate what you said, John.
Yeah, that's really important. The last question actually asks specifically about like, are there certain like movies or media that deal with like mental, it doesn't have to be mental health. The question asked about mental health, but there are like certain pieces of like TV or movies that like kind of help you cope with some of your own experiences, or like you can relate to more. I know that Speedy answered a couple of things like the new Joker movie or the butterfly effect in the show Euphoria. I think knowing these things can also help you connect with some of the young people you work with as well, to know what they're interested in, what they can relate to. Does anybody want to talk about like a certain show or movie that like you can really connect to because of your own experiences? Doesn't have to be serious either. It can be a funny show. Go ahead, Dwayne.
Yeah, when I was in high school, I had a counselor, and he would show us this movie. It was a Disney movie. It's called, and I'm pretty sure everybody knows about it. It's called Inside Out. It's, you know what I'm talking about, right? So it basically would talk about like all of the emotions, and basically happy was just the the general emotion that should always everyone should always feel. But it went on to depth about all of the emotions, and that basically it's all right to have these emotions, and but it's to learn how to manage and cope with them. And that's a really good movie, and I do appreciate my counselor for sharing that. But I think that movie right there helps a lot uh, with so many things, including mental health. So yes, thank you.
Thanks, Dwayne. Appreciate that. Does anybody else
You're
want to
welcome.
share? Or should we wrap on up? I will say that, oh, go ahead, Mark, please.
Like my worker, when I first came in, she sat me down, bought me a sandwich, and we just talked, and I just feel like if it was more of that, it'd be easier to connect with people. It's easy to connect over a meal.
Yeah, my child advocates give me food every time they see me.
Yeah. I love you guys. So I literally was going to say, Kathy, how much food means to us in our program. And that it's not just, I think people don't understand that, like, you're talking about a basic essential, and that like some people don't even have access to that when they come into the systems, or even if they do, like actually a market, like it makes you feel welcome, like it creates community, like it can kind of knock down a barrier. Like we have dinner at JLC, we always have snacks, we will go buy things, we always have juice, water, like it's not, I think people just think that it's just a snack, or that's actually not what it is. It's a very meaningful part of our program. It just is so much more than I hope people really get that from what they're saying.
Oh, I mean, you learn so much about an individual once you start learning about their food. Like you learn something, like that's when you first learn about allergies, right? Like that's when you first learn about someone who has to deal with an allergy and how maybe difficult it is for them to get the food that they need because of an allergy, or like traditions in their family or different things like that, or how drastically different your opinions on food are than their opinions on food are. So it is really important. Lexi, I might be wrong, but you're closing us out. Is that right?
No, Britt.
Britt's closing us out. Well,
Yes,
you
I
still
am.
got to add in no Britt, and I appreciate that.
Okay, so this is the end. I had fun. I hope everyone else had fun. And I guess that's it.
Well, thank you guys for being here, and thanks everyone for joining us.
Yes, most definitely. Youth advocates, y'all got anything y'all want to say before we leave, or did we say it all?
Yeah, I'm was glad to be part of this. It was really good, a great discussion, and everyone did a great job. And I just want to say thank you for that.
Thanks,
I'm not a youth advocate, but I'm plugging the next 2 series. Invite a friend, jump on. You're not on camera, and eat your sandwich. Have a fun Friday afternoon.
Yeah, because I ain't had lunch. I was wondering if I was getting Uber Eats from somebody on here. Because
we
if
will do something.
Volunteers, you let me know.
Mute you.
A random person
Jahad's
sends
already
us all a
sent
beautiful
menu.
lunch.
Please check out the projects. They are live on our website. Please check out the article from the Inquirer. It's all very exciting work. Share with your colleagues.
Everyone is saying great job, y'all. Jillian, Sue, Vic,
Emily.
Jordan, Emily, Cowther, all the many friends.
Thank you for the support, everyone. We appreciate
thank
it.
you guys for
We really do.
joining.
Okay. All right. Thank you all.
Rashni, thanks, Rashni. Ebony, thank you all. I hope you guys have a great day.
All right, guys.